All right, here we go, guys. Chapter 11, part 2. Let's see what we've got. So you guys could turn to page 302 in your book, and we'll go through an example together. So the first one's number trick. Start with a number between 1 and 10. Multiply the number by 4. Add 6 to the number you have now. Divide by 2. Subtract 5. Tell me the number you ended with, and I'll tell you the number you started with. Okay? So same kind of thing. We can start at the end. We got to find out where we finished though. So it says two students, Glenda and Sonia, played this game. Sonia started with a number, did the arithmetic, and then told Glenda that she ended with 12. Well, Glenda then figured out the number that she started with. So again, we're going to start with where we ended. We ended with 12. And the thing we did previous to that, if you go backwards, is we subtracted 5. So the opposite of subtracting 5 is to add 5, and that puts us at 12. Okay? And then prior to that, we divided by 2. The opposite of dividing by 2 is to multiply by 2. That puts us at 34. Prior to that, we added 6. The opposite of adding 6 is to subtract 6. That puts us at 28. And then prior to that, we multiplied by 4. The opposite of that is to divide by 4. That puts us at 7. So again, if you started at 7 and you went through those steps from the beginning, you'd end up with the same result. Okay, so first 3 examples, not too bad. The fourth example is a little bit trickier. Let's go through this one together. It says, after dinner, 3 friends at a restaurant paid their bill and noticed a bowl of mints on the front counter. Sean took a third of the mints, but returned 4 because he had a momentary pang of guilt. Faija then took 1/4 of what was left, but returned 3 for similar reasons. Eugene then took half of the remainder, but threw 2 green ones back into the bowl. 17 mints remained after the 3 friends had each taken some. How many mints were originally in the bowl? Again, we can work backwards, okay, and that's not going to be the trouble with this one. What makes this one more difficult is the fact that we're dealing with thirds and fourths and things like that. Dealing with half, when you subtract half from 1, you get a half again, so the opposite of a half is to double. That's not quite what we see here with this one, and so we'll go through some algebra. So Eugene took half and returned 2 and got 17. Okay, so Eugene took half. Okay, so you subtract a half, that means he's going to have half left over, and return 2, and we got 17. Okay, so our algebra there is we'd subtract 2, we get 15, and then we'd multiply by 2 and get 30. Well, that's not too bad. Okay, now what happens next? Faija took 1/4 of what was remaining. Okay, well, if he took 1/4, that means 3/4 was left. This is the part you got to be careful with. And then returned 3 and got 30 out of the deal. Okay, well, if you did your algebra there, you would subtract 3 and you'd get 27. And then to undo 3/4, you'd multiply by 4/3. 27 times 4/3. Okay, 3 goes into 27 9 times, and 9 times 4 is 36. So that puts us at 36 here. Okay, then Sean took 1/3. Well, if he took 1/3, that means 2/3 were left, and returned 4 to get 36. So we're going to subtract 4 and get 32. And then we want to multiply by 3/2. Okay, well, if you do that, 2 goes into 32 16 times 3 is 48, which is where we would have started. Okay, so you got to be a little bit more careful with fractions other than a half. Okay, and that's all I've got for you today. So once we get through those couple examples, give them a shot. Again, if you have questions, please let me know. Thanks.